There are two assignments ahead of you. They are designed to consolidate your knowledge and help you to direct your thoughts to how websites are created. These assignments are not easy. They will challenge you and may irritate you. Do not worry about it. I want you to slowly get used to the situations that you will encounter in your work, where the challenges ahead will be difficult and you will not fully know how to deal with them. If you are unable to complete a task, don't worry. In a moment, I will show you my way of doing these tasks. And trust me, if you are irritated that you couldn't do something and you will see me doing it, you will remember it much better. Therefore, take up the challenge. Just watching my videos won't teach you good code writing practices and thinking about problem solving. And yet you are here to work for your own future. So here are our assignments, and now let me tell you what to do in them. Here we have the first assignment ahead of us. This is the final effect we have to get. We have a centered text, and it's in the middle of our website, and it's responsive. If our browser window gets smaller or bigger, our text also gets smaller or bigger, and it's always in the center of our website. And here we have tasks to do. The first one, create an HTML file, the body of which will look like this. So we have a body tag, and inside it we have a p tag with the centered text written in lowercase. The second task is add CSS styles in a separate file. So it's an important one that we should place our CSS styles in a separate file and not in the head tag of our HTML file. The third one is use the asterisk selector to reset the margins to all items. That should be simple. We have done that previously. The fourth and the toughest one, this is the whole gimmick of this whole assignment, and it will be the most difficult part. We have to center the text vertically and horizontally in relation to the browser window. Take advantage of the two text properties you learned. This one is really difficult. It doesn't require anything that we haven't covered in our course, but this is something that we didn't do in practice for now. So you have to use your abstract thinking and thinking outside the box to manage to do this task. Since it's so difficult, I'll give you a small hint. We have to take the advantage of the two text properties you learned. The one refers to the alignment of our text. The second one refers to the line height of our text. And the last tip, remember that our website and our text in the website should be responsive. So we have to refer to the browser window, and you probably should know already at this point which units refers to the browser window and are responsive. That's all I'm gonna say. The fifth task, the text has to be displayed in uppercase. In HTML, it has to be written in lowercase, so it shouldn't be so difficult. The sixth one, use Open Sans condensed font imported from Google Fonts. That should be simple as well. The seventh one, the size of the font has to be 5% of the height of the website. So again, we're referring to relative units, but depending to the whole website, or you can call it browser window, and not the parent element. And the last one, the eighth one, the text has to be underlined, as you can see on your monitor right now. Okay, so let's get to work. You may pause the video now, and I'll be back in a moment showing you my way of doing this assignment. I've created a new HTML file where I placed our to-do list of this assignment as a comment. So now I'm going to do this assignment. The first task, create an HTML file, the body of which will look like this. In the body tag, all we have to do is place this p tag. So I will copy it from here. As you can see, I have my structure of the HTML file already created. So I go to the body tag and paste the p tag with the lowercase text in it and save the file. So the first task is completed. Let's go to the second one. Add CSS styles in a separate file. So now what we need to do is to create a new file. Let's call it style CSS. We have it open right now. Let's go to our HTML file. And now we have to import our CSS styles to our HTML file. We can do it with the link tag like this. And all we need to do is to place the href attribute. Since our style CSS file is in the same catalog as our assignment HTML file, all we need to do is to place the name of our style CSS file. As you can see, we have already prompt from Visual Studio Code. So we can do it like this, save our file. And now our style CSS file is created as a separate file and it's imported to our HTML file. So the second task is also completed. Let's go to the next one. The third one, use the asterisk selector to reset the margins to all items. So let's go to our style CSS file. As you can see, we have these default body margins. So what we need to do is to place the asterisk symbol, create a new CSS rule, and set margin of all our elements to 0. Let's save our file and see if it works. As you can see, it worked perfectly well. So our style CSS file is imported correctly to our HTML file as well. And this task is completed as well. Let's go to the fourth one, the most difficult one. We have to center the text vertically and horizontally in relation to the browser window. Take advantage of the two text properties you learned. So let's go to our style CSS once again. Let's create a rule for our p tag. And let's do the easier part, which you probably did by yourself with no problem. Let's center our text from the left and the right. And to do it, we need to use the text align property with the value of center. Let's save our file and see the effect. And as you can see, our text is already centered in our p tag, which as we know is the whole browser window of its width, because it's 100% of the width of the parent, which in this case is the body tag. Now the hard part, we have to center it from the top and the bottom of our website. We can do it in many ways, but at this point of the course, with the knowledge we have already, there's only one way to do it, and it's related to the line height property. And we have to set our line height to be 100% of the browser window. And as we know, if we are referring to the browser window, we have to use the viewport units. So our line has to be 100 of the viewport height. Since we have one line of the text, if its height will be 100% of the browser window, our text should be perfectly centered. Let's check it out. And as you can see, it's already in its center. Now, if we make our browser window bigger or even smaller, the text is always at the center of our browser window. So that was the most difficult part. Let's go to the next one. The fifth task. The text has to be displayed in uppercase. In HTML, it has to be written in lowercase. As we can see in our HTML, we have it written in lowercase. So let's go to our style CSS. And what we need to do is to use text transform property and set it to uppercase like this. Let's save our file. And we can see it's already uppercase. Let's go to our assignment once again. Now the sixth task of our assignment, use Open Sans condensed font imported from Google Fonts. So what we need to do right now is to go to Google Fonts. Let's do it. And let's search for Open Sans font. Here we go. Here we have it. Let's click it. This is the Open Sans font we want. We will get only the regular style. We can see right here. All we need to do is to click this button, select this style. We have the side panel open. As we can see, we have these two methods of importing our font to the website. Let's use the link tag. As you can see, all we need to do is to copy this last link tag from here. Let's copy it. Let's go to our HTML file. Let's place it between our title and our style sheet, because it's a good practice that our styles should be at the end of all of the link tags, because when something goes wrong, our styles will be the most important and will not be overridden by any styles. So let's paste our link tag with our custom font like this. Let's save it. Let's go to Google Fonts once again. And let's copy this CSS rule to specify our font family. Let's do it. Let's go back to our code. Let's go to our style CSS file. And in this case, it's not important, but it's a good practice to just place at the beginning and comment all the names of our fonts, just in case if we will forget its name, so we can refer to it always at the beginning of our style CSS file. Now what we need to do is to use this rule referring to our p tag as a font family Open Sans, and then sans serif font if somehow the Open Sans font cannot be found. Let's save our file and check if we can see the difference. As we can see, the font already changed. This is what I am talking about. If we want to mark our text with the cursor, we are marking the whole line, which you can see is the whole browser, which we specified right here with 100 viewport height. So that's why our text is centered exactly in the middle of our website. Now we can see the font has been changed. So let's go to our HTML file once again. The sixth task is completed. Now let's go to the seventh one. The size of the font has to be 5% of the height of the website. That shouldn't be a problem for us as well. Let's refer to the p tag once again. Let's set its font size, and it should be 5, but not %, because as we know, this way we will refer to the parent element, and we want to refer to the website, which is the browser window. So we should use viewport units, and as we have in this assignment to be 5% of the height of the website, we should use viewport height unit as well. Let's save our file. We can see the difference already on our monitor. And now I can see that this font is quite different from what I was using creating this assignment. And as I can see, use Open Sans condensed font. And we used only Open Sans. Let's go to the Google font once again. Let's go back. Yeah, as you can see, this is the font I was supposed to use. It's Open Sans condensed, but I missed the condensed part and use this one. So let's change it. Let's remove this style with the minus sign right here. Now we don't have any fonts selected yet. So let's go to this Open Sans condensed font. As we can see, we only get light and bold style. So let's choose this light style. Let's select this style. And all we need to do is to copy the last link tag like this. Go to our HTML file. Replace the link tag from here like this. Let's save our file. As you can see, now our font has been changed to Arial, since Open Sans is no longer recognizable. So it's using the default sans serif font, which is Arial. Let's go to the Google Fonts once again. Let's copy our proper font family once again. Let's go to our style CSS. Let's paste it right here. Let's comment it. And let's paste it right here as well. Let's save our file and let's check if we can see the difference. Yeah, and this is the font I wanted to use. So everything is now how it's supposed to be. Now the 7th task, the size of the font has to be 5% of the height of the website. We already did it. It's 5 viewport height. So the VH responsive unit. So what we got is the last 8th task. The text has to be underlined. So that should be simple as well. What we need to do is to use text decoration property with the value of underline like this. Let's save our file and voila. Let's check if our website is responsive. As you can see, it is. The font size is also changing as the height of our website is changing. And the text is always centered in the middle of our website. This is how it's supposed to be done. And this is how it's supposed to look. Now let's go to the second assignment. Now let's do the second assignment. As you can see on your monitor, it may seem a little bit more complex. I don't know if it's more difficult, but it definitely will be more code writing in this one. The final effect you can see on your monitor. We have 3 p tags in our body tag with some lorem ipsum text. They have set appropriate width and they are centered on our website from the left and the right. And they are styled differently. The second paragraph has a black background and yellow font. And if we hover on the second paragraph, we can see some changes in it. Now we have the gray background, green font color, underline in our text, and we can see the line height is getting bigger as well. So now let's see what we have to do in this assignment. First of all, create an HTML file that will be named task2html and which structure and body will look like this. So we have a body, 3 p tags with the lorem ipsum text. All you need to do is to place lorem and enter, and you will get this paragraph in your Visual Studio Code as well. The trick is only the second paragraph can have a class. In this case, I named it second. You can name it however you want. So we have to place 3 p tags in our body, and only the second one can have a class. Now, styles must be written in the head of the website, so not in the separate file as we did in the previous assignment, but in the head of the HTML file. The second task. Use inheritance to make all paragraphs, p tags, display a Roboto font or sans serif if the user doesn't have Roboto. Now, I don't want you to import the Roboto font in this assignment. All I want you to do is to place the CSS rule for all the p tags to search for a Roboto font, and if it couldn't be found, let it be default sans serif. The third one. the first and the third paragraph must have a margin of 0. So I think that should be clear. For us, the fourth task, the second paragraph must have the left and right margin set to 0, and the top and bottom margin set to 30 pixels. Then we got the fifth task, third P must be italicized and have text centered. I think that shouldn't be a problem as well. The sixth one, the second P must have a yellow font color, a black background, and justified text. Seventh task, all the P tags have to be 5 pixels wide and centered from left and right. Use the margin property. Their font should be 1.5 times larger than the parent's font. Use relative units. And the last task, after moving the mouse cursor over the second P, remember pseudo class hover. Let's get rid of this space right here so that it might be easier for you to recognize it and not get a mistake in CSS and wonder what's wrong if our pseudo class is not working. Its font color should change to green, its background color should change to gray, its text should be underlined, and the line height should be twice as high as the font size. So these are the tasks of this assignment, and I think the most difficult part will be creating separate selectors for each paragraph, since only the second one can have a class. And it might be difficult for you to set the hover pseudo class for the second paragraph, but as I said, take up the challenge. Pause the video now, and I'll be back in a moment showing you my way of doing this assignment. Just as before, I created a new HTML file in which I placed our to-do list of this assignment as a comment. So now let's get to work. First thing, create an HTML file that will be named task2html and in which structure and body will look like this. So I've created a task2html file, and now we have to do this. We have to place 3 p tags with the lorem text in it. So let's create a p tag with the lorem. Let's copy it like this and place it 2 times. Let's save our file. We have our p tags already in our HTML file, and let's create a class to the second one. Let's call it second, and this part of the task is completed. Now, styles must be written in the head of the website. So let's create a style tag in our head like this. And this is the place where we will place our CSS styles. Let's go down. The second task. Use inheritance to make all paragraphs display a Roboto font or sans serif if the user doesn't have Roboto. So let's go to our style tag. Let's refer to all p tags. And all we need to do is to use the font family property and place Roboto. If it doesn't find one, let it be sans serif, just like this. You can place the Roboto name with the lowercase, uppercase, or with quotes. If the font is on the user's computer, it will be found anyhow. If not, it won't be found no matter what. But we already know this. Let's save our file. We can see the font is changed, and I can see it's a Roboto font, and that's just because I have it already on my computer. But if I haven't got this font, the default sans serif font would be used, which would be Arial. Let's go to the next task. The third one, the first and the third paragraph must have a margin of 0. Let's go to the styles tag, and let's just for now use the margin property for all the p tags, and let's set it to 0 like this. We can see those margins disappeared, and for now it's good for us. Let's go down, and we have the fourth task. The second paragraph must have the left and right margin set to 0, and the top and the bottom margin set to 30 pixels. Alright, let's go back. We can see that our second paragraph has a class of second, so it would be easy way to refer to it. For example, a P with a class of second. Now, the left and the right margin are supposed to be 0, as for all the margins of all p tags on our website, so there's no need to change it. But we want to set margin top to 30 pixels and margin bottom to 30 pixels as well. Let's save our file, and we can see the difference already on our screen. The second paragraph is separated from the top and the bottom one with the margin of 30 pixels. Let's go down. Now the fifth task, third P must be italicized and have text centered. That can be a difficult part. How to refer only to the third P tag. Now, if we want refer only to the first one, we can refer to all of them as just with the simple P, and then we can overwrite rules for the second one and discover the selector for the third one. Because as we know, we have only class for the second one, and we can't use classes for the first one and the third one. But since we know selectors already, we can refer to it in two ways at this point with the knowledge we got that I can imagine right now. The first one is to use this selector, like this, which would be, as read it from the end, take the p tag, which is the first younger brother of another p tag, which is the first younger brother of another p tag, and it will refer to our third p tag. Let's check if it works. Let's go down. What we have to do right here, the font has to be italic and the text has to be centered. Okay, so font style italic and text align center. Let's save it and see if it works. As you can see, it works perfectly fine. The second selector that comes in my mind for this particular third paragraph is this one. So reading from the end, take the p tag, which is the first younger brother of a p tag with the class of second. Let's save the file and see if it works. And as you can see, it works perfectly fine. Now let's see the next task. The sixth one, the second P must have a yellow font color, a black background, and justified text. That would be simple. We have already selectors for all our three P tags. As I said before, to refer to the first one, it's the easiest to refer to all of them, and then overwrite the styles only for the second one and only for the third one. So we have three selectors where we can style separately the first paragraph, the second paragraph, and the third one. So what we need to do with the second paragraph is to set color to yellow and the background color to black, like this. And the text should be justified. So let's use the text align property with the justified value. Let's save the file. And voila, our text is justified. Let's see what's next. The seventh one. All the p tags have to be 500 pixels wide and centered from left and right. Use the margin property. Their font should be 1.5 times larger than the parent's font. Use relative units. Alright, so let's make it happen. Let's refer to all our p tags. Let's set their width to 500 pixels, like this. Alright, that looks fine. And we want to center them in the middle of the website from the left and the right. And as we remember, the best way to do it is to use margin property. So we can set their margin left to auto and margin right to auto as well. Let's see if it works. And it works perfectly fine. Let's see what else is to be done in this task. We have to set the font size to be 1.5 times larger than the parent's font. So let's use font size property and set it to 1.5. As we know, the relative units referring to the parent element are the M units. So this is all we have to do. 1.5 times the parent unit will be 1.5 M. Let's save it. And we can see the difference on our screen instantly. Let's go down. And all we have to do is the 8th task, where after moving the mouse cursor over the second P, remember pseudo class hover, its font color should change to green, its background color should change to gray, its text should be underlined, and the line height should be twice as high as the font size. All we need to do now is to refer to our P second, but with the pseudo class of hover. Exactly like this. Now what we need to do is to change the color to green, background color to gray, text decoration to underline, and we have to change its line height to 200%. We could also use just 2 or 2M, but it's the best to keep it, especially at the beginning of your learning, with percentages, just to make sure that 200% is exactly twice as bigger as the font size. Let's save this file. Let's see if it works. Now when I hover on our second paragraph, the background color is changing, the color of the font is changing, we have this underline beneath our text, and the line height is twice as big as the font size. And it works exactly how it should. So this is it. I hope that these 2 assignments didn't get you too much trouble or annoyance, and you managed to get through most of the tasks. But now let's not chit chat for too long, and let's go further to the next section.